The day I stopped being the Bank of Dolores. A true story, or as true as a story like this ever feels. I am 69 years old, and today I became someone I should have met decades ago. It started in my kitchen, the same formica table where I've eaten alone for the last 12 years. I was holding the house papers, official, stamped, final. The deed to the 3-bedroom house with the garden view that my only child, Jamal, now owns. The house I bought with $20,000 of my life savings. My hands shook, not from rage would have been cleaner, but from a grief so heavy it pressed the air out of my lungs. The bedroom door was ajar. I could hear everything. Jamal was on speakerphone with his wife, Kesha. Their voices floated down the hallway like smoke I couldn't wave away. Yeah baby, everything's set. The papers came today. The house is officially ours. His laugh, my little boy's laugh that used to make the sun rise inside my chest, now made me flinch. Your mama's gonna be so happy to live with us, he continued, excitement bubbling. Finally Miss Cynthia will have her own room with the garden view, just like she always wanted. Miss Cynthia, Kesha's mother. My heart stopped, then started again, slower, colder. And me? I whispered to the empty kitchen, knowing no one could hear. What about me? I kept listening, the way you keep touching a sore tooth with your tongue. Nah baby, Jamal said, casual as butter. We already talked about this. My mom's fine in her apartment, besides you know how she is, always fussing about something. It's better this way. More peaceful for everyone, us the kids, your mom. A real family. A real family. Those 2 words went through me like ice picks. I, Dolores Marie Jones, who raised that boy alone after his daddy ran off with a woman half my age. I, who worked double shifts as a secretary, who sold my own mother's gold bangles, who mortgaged every dream of financial peace so my son could have a home. I was not part of the real family. I closed my eyes and the memories hit me like waves against a crumbling shore. 6 months earlier, Jamal had sat at this very table wearing the same sad puppy face he perfected at age 7. Mama, I found the perfect house, 3 bedrooms, big yard, good schools. But I'm short $20,000 for the down payment. I swear I'll pay you back in 2 years. And of course you'll always have a room with us. You'll always have a place. I wrote those exact words in my journal that night, because they made me cry happy tears. I couldn't sleep for smiling. Finally, after years of Sunday visits where I sat quietly in the corner like a potted plant, I would have a home. Grandbabies running underfoot, family dinners, holidays that smelled like cinnamon and children's laughter instead of microwave dinners and silence. But today I learned the room with the garden view was never meant for me. It was reserved for Miss Cynthia, who apparently needed peace. Hard to live with. That's what they called me on that phone call. Me, 69 years old, never raised my voice, never asked for a dime back, never missed a birthday or a school play. I stood at my kitchen window and watched the rain slide down the glass the same way tears wanted to slide down my face. But I refused to cry. 25 years I saved every penny. Packed lunch in Tupperware. Wore the same coat until the elbows shone. Bought day-old bread. Also I would never be a burden. Turned out I was a burden anyway. Kesha's voice drifted in again, practical and sweet as iced tea with arsenic in it. Baby, we need to figure out how to tell her. Maybe suggest a smaller apartment, something more affordable, more in line with her needs. More affordable. Translation. Now that you've drained her dry, kick her to a cheaper curb. I heard Jamal's footsteps coming. I sat down fast, pretended to study the electric bill like nothing had shattered inside me. Mama. You good? He kissed my forehead the way he has since he was tall enough to reach. The Judas kiss, I now realize. I'm good, son. Papers all set for the house. Perfect. We move in soon. New chapter. He grinned. A new chapter for him, Kesha, Miss Cynthia, and the kids. I was apparently written out after the last check cleared. Thanks for everything, Mama. This wouldn't have happened without you. Without me, but also without me in the future. Ironic. When he left, I folded the house papers with the same care I once used folding his tiny t-shirts and placed them in the drawer with the unpaid medical bills and the last shreds of my dignity. Something cold and clear rose in me, like well water after a storm. That night I didn't sleep. At 5 a.m. I made coffee and opened the notebook where I track every grocery dollar. Today I made a different list. Every penny I'd given Jamal over the last 5 years. $2,000, used car. $800, transmission. $10,000, grandkids' tuition and uniforms. $700, Kesha's root canal. $3,000, credit card debt. $500 here, $300 there. And now $20,000, down payment on a house I will never sleep in. Grand total, $48,300. $48,300 I scraped together since 1974. Money that could have bought me cruises I never took, clothes that fit properly, a hearing aid that actually worked. All for obligatory Sunday visits where I smiled while they scrolled their phones. For grandchildren who think Grandma Dolores is boring, because I don't have the latest gadgets. For birthday invitations that stopped coming because we didn't want to inconvenience you, Mama. I closed the notebook and took out the shoebox with my important papers. Birth certificate, insurance policies, the will I wrote 3 years ago leaving everything to Jamal because he was my only reason for breathing. At 7 a.m. my phone rang. Mama. You good this morning? I answered with a voice that didn't feel like mine, steady, almost amused. You need something, son? Well, yeah. With the move there's some extra expenses. Could you spot us $3,000? Movers, paint, little things to make the house perfect. $3,000 I would have to pull from the $2,300 left in my savings after the down payment gift. $3,000 I need for my own medicines, my own rent if the pension check is late. Jamal, when do I get to see the house? Long silence. It's still got some work. When it's ready we'll bring you. And when am I moving in? Even longer silence. Mama, Kesha and I've been talking. Maybe it's better if you stay in your apartment for now. The kids are nervous about the move. Kesha's stressed with her new job. New job? Yeah, accounting firm. Almost $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month, but they still need my $3,000. I need to think about the money, I said. Think. Mama, you never had to think before. That's exactly the problem, son. I'll call you in a few days. But we need it tomorrow. I hung up. My hands shook, but not from fear. From power. I opened my ancient laptop, logged into the bank, and stared at the balance. $2,300. I called the bank. Good morning, National Bank. I need to remove my son as payable on death beneficiary and cancel his debit card on my account. Reason for the change, ma'am? Because I just financed my own abandonment. The woman on the line didn't miss a beat. Change is effective immediately. Anything else? Yes. Send me information on updating my will. When I hung up I felt taller. Jamal called back instantly. I let it ring. Over the next 3 days my phone buzzed itself hoarse. 27 missed calls. Texts escalating from concern to panic to threats. Grandma, Daddy says you're sick. Are you dead? My 8-year-old grandson weaponized. The one that crystallized everything arrived Wednesday at 6:30 a.m. Mama, if this is about the house we can talk. Maybe we can find space for you too. But I need the $3,000 first, then we'll fix the other stuff. The other stuff. That would be me, my dignity, my right to the home I paid for, relegated to other stuff that could wait until after the movers were paid. I turned the phone off again. Wednesday I put on my good navy dress, the one I save for funerals, brushed my gray hair until it shone, and walked to the bank. I opened a brand new account only I can touch and moved $10,000 into it. Money Jamal doesn't know exists. Statements to a post office box. Then I sat with a lawyer recommended by the bank. I told him everything, no drama, just facts. He listened without judgment. I want my estate divided differently. Some to Jamal, but the bulk to charities that help elderly women who've been discarded by their families. We can also attach conditions to Jamal's portion, he offered gently. Regular contact, assistance with medical appointments, things decent children do without being forced. The idea made me sad and furious at the same time. Love by contract. Let me think on the conditions, I said. But start the paperwork. After the lawyer, I did something radical. I ate alone in a restaurant. Salmon, real vegetables, a glass of white wine. $35 I once would have called wasteful. Today it tasted like freedom. At 3:15 p.m. a text. I'm coming over at 4 o'clock. We need to talk. I walked home slowly, enjoying sunshine on my face that wasn't scheduled around someone else's needs. At 3:50 I sat in my chair by the window and waited. Not anxious, almost curious. At 4 o'clock sharp the knock came. Hard and titled. I opened the door. Jamal stood there with Kesha hovering behind him, wearing her worried about mama mask that doesn't quite reach the eyes. Mama, thank God. We were so scared. He moved to hug me. I didn't move to meet him. I caused you distress? I asked quietly. Imagine how I felt learning the house I paid for has a room for Miss Cynthia, but none for me. Jamal went white. Kesha's mouth opened and closed like a goldfish. You talked about putting me in a cheaper apartment after you took my money. You called me hard to live with. A burden. Mama, we didn't mean. You meant every word. The $48,300 I gave you over 5 years. Was that meaningless too? We messed up. Jamal sobbed suddenly. We changed our minds. We want you to live with us. Please. No. I said, calm as lake water. You want the next $3,000. You don't want me. You lost me the moment you decided I wasn't your real family. He cried harder. Kesha rubbed his back like he was the victim. I'm no longer the Bank of Dolores, I continued. Find your moving money elsewhere. Don't come back until, if you can treat me like a mother, not an ATM. I closed the door, leaned against it until my legs stopped shaking. Then I walked to the window and watched them leave, shoulders slumped. The rain finally stopped and weak sunlight breaking through. I don't know if Jamal will change. I don't know if he'll last a year without another emergency. I don't know if we'll ever sit at the same Thanksgiving table again. But I know this. I am no longer afraid to eat alone in restaurants. I am no longer afraid of silence. I am no longer afraid to say no. That evening I called my friend Leonita. Meet me at the park tomorrow? I asked. Big tree, 2 sandwiches, no grandkids, no guilt. She hooped so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. The next day I sat under that oak tree with Leonita, eating egg salad and laughing about things that had nothing to do with anybody's rent. I looked at my 70-year-old hands, veins raised, knuckles swollen, palms still strong. And I made them a promise. These hands will never again open a wallet without opening a heart that truly loves them back. And for the first time in years, I smiled at my own reflection and recognized the woman looking back. Her name is Dolores Marie Jones, and she is finally, fully, gloriously free.